Who are you?
Whoever you want me to be.
Don't say I never gave you anything.
It's feeling epic.
3 words. 8 letters.
I remember everything.
Hello, Upper East Siders. Gossip Girl here, and welcome to another scandalous episode of Previously on Teen TV. I'm Serena Vanderwoodson.
And I'm Blair Waldorf.
Okay, I'm actually Jillian Bonani.
I'm Claire Wojciechowski.
And we have a very special episode for you today. We are talking all about what I consider the best Gossip Girl Thanksgiving episode, which is season 3, episode 11, The Treasure of Serena Madre.
Believe it's episode.
Is it episode 12?
I think it's at 9.
Is it episode 9? Okay.
In the notes, I think it says 9.
So we are, let me go back.
Let's maybe fact check it, and then we'll take it from the top.
Wait, let me fact check.
It's episode 11.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 11.
Great.
What did I say?
You said 11, so never mind. We'll just cut this part.
Claire.
I was going off the notes.
The outline does say 9.
Oh my God.
But you were right, so never mind. Keep going. Ignore me.
So we are talking all about The Treasure of Serena Madre, which is a very big Gossip Girl Thanksgiving app.
Maybe the most memed Gossip Girl app ever, I would say.
Very good point. Yes. I feel like this app is very talked about. Well, Gossip Girl is also known for their Thanksgiving episodes.
Right. There is a little bit of a quote that I'll share with you from a writer at Teen Vogue. The annual Thanksgiving episode, which is strangely missing from season 5, is Gossip Girl in its most Shakespearean form, a comedy of errors built around more dramatic irony than your English teacher could ever hope to explain to you. That is P. Claire Dodson in Teen Vogue.
I mean, Teen Vogue is my publication of choice
Yes.
also. And I agree with everything in that quote. Like, I think that these episodes are Gossip Girl, like, at its best. Like, they're so fun. They're so gossipy.
Yeah.
They're so dramatic. And, like, there's kind of, like, a little bit of, like, kind of a silliness to a lot of them, I think, too.
Yeah, there's something about bringing people together for a holiday that is always exciting. And when it's a holiday like Thanksgiving, when you don't really have religious traditions mixed in there, it's for everybody. I think it opens you up to all sorts of possibilities.
I agree. And I think out of all the Gossip Girl Thanksgiving episodes, like, this one is the most gossipy Gossip Girl episode.
Yeah,
like,
secrets galore.
Secrets, lies, scandals. I can't get enough. I love it. Jason Derulo.
Oh my God.
I can't get enough. Okay, so we are doing a full recap of this episode. So I highly recommend you go watch this episode. You can find it on Max or watch it afterwards. But I highly recommend, it's Thanksgiving week. Go back and watch this episode. We're really going to deep dive it today. We normally don't do recaps, so this is fun.
It is fun. We've never done this before, but I think this episode deserves a place in the teen TV pantheon, and I'm excited that we're starting with The Treasure of Serena Madre.
Yeah, and it's Thanksgiving week, and we're dressed up in our Gossip Girl best.
We are. We're ready for a lovely holiday dinner.
Yes, we have our champagne. We're ready to go.
are.
Let's cheers it. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Gossip Girl Thanksgiving. Okay, so let's start off. Let's give a little recap of what this episode is. So, Claire, our recap specialist, give us a little synopsis of this episode.
Okay, so in this episode, we get to see pretty much everybody, all the main players. They all have some secrets that they're keeping. Serena is put in an awkward position when Lily invites Trip and Maureen to join them for dinner. Reminder that Serena is working for Trip and has a little crush on him. Maureen is Trip's wife. Trip is also Nate's cousin. Blair suspects her mother of keeping a big secret. Chuck tells Nate he has potentially damaging information about one of their friends, and that's just scratching the surface. There are more secrets in this episode that we haven't even touched on yet.
I feel like this is a big episode of, like, a lot is, like, coming to a head in this episode. Like, they set up a lot of stuff in the beginning of the season, and a lot comes out in this episode.
Yeah, it's a big turning point for multiple storylines, which is always exciting. And then it all happens at this lovely sit-down dinner, which just makes it so much juicier.
Yes. So this is also what I like to call the what you say dinner. So
Yes.
you know when what you say comes on, there's going to be drama.
Yes.
No gunplay in this what you say, but let's just say shots are fired.
Iconic for a different reason, but yes, that the song remains. It's given us so much.
Yeah. I just like to refer to it as what you say episode. Dinner.
Yeah. I think the internet agrees.
Okay, well, let's get into the episode. So,
Okay.
first of all, I have to laugh at the start of this episode. It opens with sweet little baby Rufus, who is in his chunky sweater for the fall season and is trying to dole out tasks for Thanksgiving. I feel like Rufus is the character who's we're going to make it a big Thanksgiving this year. He's going through his recipe cards, which, you just gotta laugh.
I mean,
why does he have these recipe cards?
He brought them from Brooklyn to the Upper East Side.
he packed those in a separate box. He needed those recipes. But yeah, I just thought it was so funny of just that Rufus is that character who is kind of left in the dark for a lot of the episode, and it's what? I'm just here to have a nice Thanksgiving.
Yeah. We're just going to have a classic family holiday Thanksgiving with all the trimmings.
And it's Rufus, you're not in Brooklyn anymore. You're on the Upper East Side. It's not going to go the way you want it to.
Certainly not.
But let's kind of get into where everyone is at in this episode. It kind of starts off with them all the setup before Thanksgiving. So it's they're all kind of trying to figure out what they're doing for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, which is a bit wild to me that no one has plans the day before Thanksgiving.
I know.
You didn't talk about this maybe a week ago.
Yeah.
But they're still sort of up in the air. But
I mean, Nate has no idea what he's doing. It's it's the day before.
He also he says he's going to go talk to his grandfather, and then in the next scene, Serena's do you want to come to dinner? He's sure, I have no plans. What happened to the plans with your grandfather?
So I know, I thought that too, but I think he did that though, said that to Serena because
As a lie.
he wanted to spend it with her. So he was oh no, I actually have no plans. I'm totally free. Would love to come hang out with you.
Very, very much Nate.
Desperate Nate for
So
Serena.
in love with her.
He is so desperate for her.
I love it though. You know how I feel about Nate and Serena.
I mean, I love it. And this is a very good episode for him or for them.
Yeah.
Very good episode for Nate and Serena because we really see him yearning for her. And she is in a messy thing with his cousin, which we'll definitely get more into. But the scene of them just talking together, you can just see it in Nate's eyes. He loves her.
He is so in love with her. He's such a puppy dog for her. And
I know.
the way that he's looking at her, it's heartbreaking because she's just oblivious.
I mean, I have to call out the scene too where they're on that bench together.
I was thinking of the same
And
scene.
Trip calls her and is Maureen, wants to spend Thanksgiving together. She's freaking out that I wanted to break up with her. Of course, Trip. Come on. So I need to spend Thanksgiving with Maureen. This is a mess, blah, 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 blah. Serena just says, I have to go. Classic Serena line. He did a full monologue.
Yeah.
All she says back is, I have to go.
See, I thought that she did that because she didn't want Nate to know that it was Trip on the phone.
Oh.
So she's trying to play it cool and not let him know that she's in this messy situation, even though he already knows.
Okay, that does make sense. I think I was more reading it as she just wanted to hang up on him because she was annoyed about the situation. But that makes sense that she didn't want Nate to know because she has been hiding this from him.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're hiding it, it's because you know that it's wrong.
And she was we just kissed once, Nate. It's totally fine. He's dude, you're messing with my family.
Right.
Which I have my own thoughts on that, though.
Oh, okay.
No one seems to be mad at Trip about this. Everyone is mad at Serena about this. Blair's mad at Serena. Nate's mad at Serena. Lily is furious with Serena. No one is mad at the congressman who is older. They're all mad at the 19-year-old girl for falling for the congressman. Are you kidding me?
I know. And even Maureen is mean to Serena, and she's we're going to be together forever. It's why are you get out of your husband?
Yeah, say that to him.
Fully grown adult who is not sleeping with, but kissing a teenager.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
And no one seems to be realizing that they're Serena's back to her ways. With men, she just falls so hard, you know?
Yep.
And it's like, okay, like he's a big part of this too.
Yeah. I mean, he's leaving his wife for a teenager that he's kissed once.
Insane. I mean, I know Maureen has her faults too, but like, I mean, it is bizarre. Like, this man is giving me major creepy vibes. Like, I am not into him at all. Like, I just get the creeps from him a little bit. And I think it's just mainly because I'm like, you're in the power position here. You're her boss. She is 19. You are a married man. You're a congressman. Like, what are you doing, buddy?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of foreshadowing because he goes full villain in the end.
Well, yeah. Well,
we'll get
he
there.
has his Chappaquiddick, basically. I do love, though, the storyline of Trip and just like having this like young congressman and this political family. Like, I did really love that whole storyline because I thought it was interesting how they brought in like the political aspect of it and kind of made this like Vanderbilt Kennedy family thing mixed up and all this. So I did like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very New York. They're tying it to a family, a real family that has a lot of history in that realm. And so I think that is, that was a good choice. It was a good storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it. Didn't like Trip, but I like the storyline.
Right.
Should we talk about Dan and Vanessa a little bit here?
Let's talk about them.
Yeah. I have thoughts on Vanessa this episode.
First of all, Vanessa walks into Dan's apartment and is just like, my mom's pissing me off. Can I stay with you? Who does that? Who just walks?
So bizarre.
Who just walks into someone's apartment and is
full bags
with like bags packed, and she's like, I couldn't stay in the dorm, so can I stay here? But then like they talk about her mom coming in from out of town and staying at a hotel. I'm like, so then why did you not have where? Like, I'm very confused.
It's just
very confused.
It's like too much. Like, oh, I hate my mom. My mom's so annoying. Oh my god, get her on my back. I hate her. Like, it's like too much. Like, why is the mom even in this episode? Like, we didn't need it. It was just like so bizarre. Like, this is clearly like, I get they were trying to show these kind of like mother-daughter dynamics, and then it ties in with like the whole Dan thing, but like the mom was bothering me.
The mom was too much.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Vanessa was right. The mom was too much, but it was just like...
But like, we didn't need to show her. Like, I don't know. It just was like, why bring her in for one episode and have her leave? It just seems unnecessary when the point of the story is that like Dan's in love with Vanessa and hasn't told her.
Well, and they just had the threesome with Hilary Duff. I cannot remember her character's
Olivia.
name. Olivia,
Her
right.
name is Olivia.
I'm going to refer to her just as Hilary Duff this entire time.
I think it's for the best.
Yeah. Hilary Duff broke up with Dan because she was like, you're in love with Vanessa. You gave her this look like I saw you while we were having the threesome. I mean, the storyline is like just amazing. Like, I love every second of it. But Dan gave Vanessa a look during that threesome that he has not been able to stop giving her, I guess.
Right. Because she keeps saying, what's this new face? You keep making this new face. And he's like, what do you mean? And it's like, babe, like, you made that face for him all of season 1. Like, you know what that face is.
I actually like the Dan and Vanessa thing because I just think it like makes sense. I at least like wanted them to try dating. Like, I didn't like love them necessarily together, but like, I don't know, maybe I wanted them to date earlier or something. I don't think that it really worked in this timeline that they did it, because it just seems like if they didn't date before, why are they dating now? And a threesome brought him to this like this resolution. Like, what? After all that, after Vanessa pining over you guys being friends all these years, what did it for you was that threesome.
It's so bizarre. I was never a fan of their relationship. I was just never a fan of Vanessa, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Like, I know she was in the book, and like in an ideal world, her character would serve a purpose as a foil to disrupt, you know, this sort of world of wealth and privilege. But I don't think that they executed it the best way. And
I agree.
I could do without her in the whole series, to be honest. Anyway.
No, I agree with that. I think that it's like, I wanted more for Vanessa because I don't think that they did her character like justice.
Right.
And like, we needed somebody like not in that like rich world. And at this point, like, Dan is like fully in it. Like, his dad is married to Lily Vanderwoodson. Like, he's living in that penthouse. Like, or Rufus is at least. But like, it's just like, they didn't execute it right.
No, yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe like Vanessa and Dan dating will like get us somewhere with Vanessa. It didn't.
It didn't.
But, you know, I appreciated the effort.
Yeah, they tried. Anyway, that's where they are in this episode. Dan is just spending the whole episode basically pining over Vanessa and trying to repair the relationship with her and her mother.
And just really could have done without that.
Yeah.
I think Rufus could have played the role that the mother played in a sense. Like, not Vanessa hating on Rufus. That would have been weird. But, like, I feel like it all kind of, like, culminated in this, like, I'm jumping ahead. But, like, it all kind of culminated in, like, her being like, oh, you're in love with my daughter.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think Rufus could have handled that. He didn't have that much to do this ep. He was just going through his recipe cards. So,
Yeah, I agree. Rufus could have done a little more and paying attention to his own son.
let's talk a little bit about Blair and her mom and this, like, quite comedic storyline. Like, it's silly. It's, you know.
I love, like, Delulu Blair.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hilarious.
Yes. So Blair is anticipating her mother returning from Paris for the holiday, and then the plan is for her to go back to Paris with Eleanor for the long weekend. And a package arrives from her mother's estate attorney. And Blair's like, she's changing her will. What does this mean? Why is she changing her will? Meanwhile, she finds this package that Dorota's holding, and inside there are pregnancy baby items. And Dorota says, oh, these were from Miss Eleanor. And so Blair assumes that her mother is pregnant.
How old is Eleanor? Like, did she have you at 18? Like, it's just like, you are 19. The mom must be at least in her 40s. And I don't think Eleanor was like a teen mom.
No.
So
not in New York.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just very, like, confusing on why she went right to that and, like, really stuck with her guns with it.
I know.
But I appreciated the more, like, comedy in this episode that storyline did bring. And, like, Blair just, like, scheming and trying to get her mom to say that she's pregnant was pretty funny to me.
It is funny. And I appreciate that, like, Eleanor knows that she's being crazy, doesn't know why.
Right.
But she just acknowledges that. She's like, is it me or is my daughter getting crazier every year? And I'm like,
I know.
yeah,
I
she
love
just
that
embraces
line.
it. It's wonderful.
Know. It was so good. So yeah, Blair is very schemy in this ep, which I think is very fun. It's Blair, like, at her best. And I think that when they let Leighton Meester, like, show some of her comedy stuff, it's good. It just kind of makes it a little more light and fun. Like,
I love a Blair off her rocker running around trying to, you know, uncover a secret or force someone into a situation. She's at her best when she's being a little crazy.
I know. We love crazy Blair.
We do.
Well, I also love when she runs into Serena and is just, like, unhinged, just, like,
reads her to filth about Trip.
Oh, I love it. Like, completely reads her to filth. That's so true. Of just, like,
I think my favorite thing is she says, oh, then what are you, an 18-year-old blonde coincidence?
Yes.
Call me in 6 months when he meets his next coincidence. And I was like, yes.
It's so good. Like, the lines there are just so good. And, I mean, that is a fun part about this app. We get this, like, Blair and Serena, like, antagonistic, like, going against each other. Like, I just think, like, the setup of that is really fun.
We do, but we also get them friendly at the end. Like, Blair is being hard on Serena because she doesn't want her to get hurt. She sees her making a mistake and is like, don't do this. This is a bad decision.
Right.
And she'll tell her that. But then at the end, when Serena ultimately decides to leave with Trip, Blair's like, all right, like, this is what you got to do, then this is what you got to do.
Well, I love that scene, too, where they are making up, like, in the bedroom where, like, she sees Serena's mad and she's like, I'm not going to, like, pile on you. I've, you know, said my piece about this. I just care about you. And I think that, like, that is what's so interesting about their friendship is, like, they can kind of, like, go at each other a little bit. But at the end of the day, they still, like, really love each other. And Blair is there for Serena and is like, come to Paris with me. Like, let's have some fun. Let's do some girl time. Let's just, like, spend time together. And I feel like they're always there for each other when they really need each other, no matter, like, what was said even earlier that day.
Yeah, they're a great example of friendship in a teen show, I think.
Yeah. We love a little, like, showing some frenemies stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think, like, that's part of friendship is, like, holding your friends accountable when you think they're making a mistake, but still being there with love if they choose to pursue that.
And I love, too, when Blair kind of goes after Trip, too. Like, so she's not just going after Serena. She's the only one who is also going after Trip in this scenario, which is highly needed. When he was like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, you leave. You get on the elevator. You know, it will take you down to the bottom floor and you leave. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that complicated. Like, get that in your brain. And it's just like, yeah, I think that, you know, she was there for Serena when she did really need her. And thank God somebody said something
I
to
know.
this congressman. We know Blair won't be voting for him, that's for sure. Okay, well, we also have the, what are their names again? Sorry.
I believe you're speaking about the Jenny and Eric minor plot.
It was just so minor that it's hard to kind of even remember it.
Right, because all of their secrets are happening beforehand. So we learn in this episode, Jenny learns from Blair that Eric is the one who sabotaged her at Cotillion. He set her up with this date and then took the date away last minute so she would be at the top of the stairs alone. Ultimately, Jenny calls Nate and looks great, but she doesn't know until right before they sit down to dinner that Eric is the one who planned to embarrass her.
Yeah, and Blair reveals this to Jenny, and then we get the first what you say.
Yes.
It's right after Blair tells her, so we're like, oh, it's going down. It's all happening.
And this happens smack dab in the middle of the episode, so it's it's perfectly timed. There's this build up into this incredible moment at the dinner, and then the rest of it is just the fallout.
Well, yeah, so then they're all seated down for dinner. Well, everyone is seated except one person, Lily, who we just get these close-up shots of her drinking alone in what appears to maybe be a bathroom.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Very messy Marissa of her, I gotta say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to throw it back to the OC. I just couldn't stop laughing at these close-up shots of her just drinking her drink. It was just hilarious.
I mean,
why wasn't she sitting at her own Thanksgiving table?
Well, we should touch on the reason why. There's a secret there, too. So at the beginning, we learned that Cece, Lily's mother, is not coming to Thanksgiving. And Rufus is told that she's not well enough to travel because she was dealing with cancer and is in recovery. So Eric says the line, which I laughed out loud. He says, "We can set up a video chat on my netbook to talk to her." And I was like, wow, what year are we?
It looked like complete product placement. It was too. They wanted us all to buy these netbooks so we could, talk to our relatives over Thanksgiving.
I had one in college.
Oh my God.
It worked on you.
It did.
Did you buy it after you saw this episode?
No, I did not. I saw someone else in college. It was a waste of money. It was so stupid. Anyway.
That is hilarious that you had a netbook. I'm dead.
Because I was my laptop was clunky and I didn't want to carry it. So I'm I'll take the little netbook. But the netbook didn't have any stuff on it. It didn't have Microsoft Office. Yeah. So what's the point of that? Anyway, back to Rufus and Cece and Lily.
We're out of the product placement.
I know. Sorry about that.
No, I liked it.
But anyway, they talked to Cece. She's like, "Oh, I'm healthy. I'm fine." And Rufus is like, "Well, why don't you come to dinner and surprise Lily?" And boy, is Lily surprised to see her mother at Thanksgiving. Because
she's so surprised she can't sit at the table.
She's got to drink alone in the coat closet or the bathroom or something.
I was just like, why are they starting dinner without her? Why is nobody going to go get her or look for her?
Right. She's the host. It's at her home.
It was very confusing. Rufus is making full toast. They're all eating. No one goes to get her. No one is wondering where she is. They're just oh, when Lily gets back. It's well, where do you think she is?
Yeah, no one's concerned about her.
Very confusing.
And also, what lack of etiquette.
I know, for the Upper East Siders.
Honestly.
Okay, so we start getting all the secrets revealed. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the first one is that Cece reveals to Rufus, that Lily, or that she was in remission earlier than what she had thought. But I love this line from Dan, who says, "Cece's heart is filled with secrets and gin." It's honestly amazing. Great. So funny. Maybe one of my favorite lines of the episode.
I watched this episode twice, and both times I just thought Cece is a fucking icon.
Yeah.
I love her. Cece Rhodes is incredible. She should have been on more of these episodes.
Agree.
She's just rich and loving her life and causing havoc. And it's great.
I would love to watch the Cece Rhodes story.
Oh, yes.
I would love to hear more about her life. Or I would love a Gilmore Girls type of setup with Cece, Lily, and Serena.
Oh my God.
Doesn't that sound kind of fun? I mean, a lot messier and wilder than Gilmore Girls, so a different show. But get me those 3 generations of women on a show. That's what I want to see.
Oh, just 3 blonde messes drinking their way across the Upper East Side. I would love that.
Exactly. It sounds fun.
So we also, Jenny calls out Eric for sabotaging her at Cotillion. She says, "Don't you have anything to say?" And his response is, "Your sweet potatoes are bland."
And like that's it. This is like the most like, which is so funny because this is actually a storyline that like had to do with another episode.
Yes.
Like that cotillion scene was like very big.
Yes.
Like, and it was like literally like a whole thing. And then they really are throwing this secret like under the rug in this episode. Like they love to throw Eric just like under the rug. They're like, let's, get Eric in the corner over there.
That kid, Connor Paolo, however you say his last name, loves to be on these shows in the 2000s where it's like he's going to be a main character, and then they're just like, we don't know what to do with him, so
they just sweep
they
him under
ship
that
him
rug.
off.
Yeah, I know.
If you watched Revenge, they were like, let's kill him off in an explosion.
Oh
like,
my God, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
I know he gets on all these big shows, and then it's like, oh, this is a storyline with him and Little J, and like, what's gonna happen? And then they just spend like 2 seconds on it in this episode. We get more of Blair thinking her mom is pregnant than we get this like bigger storyline.
Yes.
It's
this
so
like
funny.
inconsequential like hijinks plot gets more screen time than like an actual storyline from a previous episode.
Right.
But honestly, like, we're better for it.
Don't get me wrong, I love me some Little J, but I'm sorry, I don't need much Eric.
No. I was fine with them leaving the show.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It kind of needed it.
Yeah.
We needed to move forward.
They just don't fit with the rest of the group.
I think that they struggled with like the people from Brooklyn and like being like, well, we can't have them fully just like get into this world because like it doesn't make sense. It needs to destroy them a little bit. Because they kind of, the running thing throughout the show is like, these are not great people.
Yeah.
Like these Upper East Siders, like Chuck, Blair, Serena, Lily, all of them are like not great people.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't then just put Little J from Brooklyn in the Upper East Side without having it completely destroy her.
Right.
Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah, and then they end up using that as a way to write her off the show. That
Yeah.
she's so fucked up she has to leave the city.
mean, it made sense. Like,
Yeah, it ruined her.
okay, so I mean, the big reveal is the Marine.
Maureen.
Let's
go to the ocean.
Maureen
Yes.
reveals to Trip and Serena she knows they're having an affair, and she reveals that she has this video of them making out in the elevator that Nate has shown her and given to her, and that she is ready to put this video out in the world unless like Trip stays with her, basically. So Maureen really came, guns a-blazing.
Yeah, she came to play. I mean, which we should have known, because she makes up this whole story to get Trip elected in the first place.
Right.
Which is what he uses as his excuse for divorcing her, is that she lied, she committed fraud. But it's like
such a lie. You're into Serena.
Yeah.
Like, just stop.
But yeah, when she's just like, no, like, we're gonna be together forever, and she is like, I will hurt you if I have to. Like,
she says, we're gonna grow old together. It's like, oh my God, Maureen, I'm embarrassed. Like, come up with a better line.
I know.
But Maureen is smart. Like, you gotta say, like, she's an Upper East Sider.
Oh.
She knows how to play with them.
She does.
And
yeah.
they really just like underestimated her and acted like, oh, she's just a little upset that I said I was going to leave her, so I'll like hang out with her for a second. It's like, you didn't think she was going to blackmail you or like do something?
Right?
Like, this is a woman who has already committed fraud. Like,
Honestly.
she knows what she wants and she goes after it.
I kind of love that for her, and like, they deserve it. Like, they're shitty people doing a shitty thing.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me is that we don't get a scene where like Chuck is like mad at Nate for
Right.
taking the footage without his permission, but like Trip doesn't say really anything to Nate, and they're fucking blood.
I
Like, they're
know.
family, and there's no like, how could you do this to me? How could you do this to your friend Serena? Like, really, neither of them are like upset at Trip or even Maureen. They're just like, oh darn, I guess we have to break up now. Like,
I just feel like there were just like certain things with Trip where it's like maybe there was just so much going on there. But yeah, it is weird that like he's not like, how dare you get that video? Like, when he keeps saying that it would like destroy his career. I don't
Yeah.
know. Also, like, nowadays that definitely would not destroy your career.
No.
Just like you making out in an elevator with somebody, it's like that'd get you elected.
yeah.
I also love when Chuck plays like hotel owner. Like, it's like when he's like really trying to like lay the law down with Nate of like, you can never do that again. Don't steal my security footage. And it's just like, oh, now you're like big boss in charge. Also, like, I'm sure you have other stuff to deal with than like your friend taking this tape because he's in love with Serena. Like,
yeah, but like honestly, like Chuck is used sparingly in this episode. He doesn't really have his own storyline. He's just there to support other people. But I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Like I love that he's like just there with Blair the whole time, and he's there for Nate. I love when he says to Trip and Serena, like, if you ever play grab ass in my elevator again, Serena will be staying at an airport Marriott.
So good.
Happy holidays, and then just walks away.
I mean, he has like some of the best lines like in the episode, and yeah, he's barely in it, but like his presence is there, and it is just still so good. Like, you gotta love Chuck Bass.
You do.
At least on this episode.
Chuck is a controversial character, to say the least.
But he is like fun in this episode.
He's fun. Yeah, this is a good up for. He shows himself well in this episode. So in the midst of this big revelation, we have the more minor one, and it really comes after the dinner. Blair is continuing to try and prove that her mother is pregnant. Right. She's offering her favorite rosé and a bunch of soft cheeses, and she's like, don't you want to eat this? Don't you want to eat that? And her mother's like, stop being weird. What are you doing? And then it's after the dinner that they actually talk, and Eleanor says, I'm not pregnant. I bought a house in Paris. We're staying there full time. And then they realize that it's Dorota who is actually pregnant.
Dorota. Such a cute little like side storyline. I love it when they like bring Dorota into it.
I love like, Dorota and Vanya. I was one of those where I was like, wouldn't it be fun if Dorota was Gossip Girl?
I thought the same thing. I really wanted it to be her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was just kind of like a cute way to bring in Dorota's pregnancy and just give her a little bit more of a storyline. Like, Dorota deserves that. Yes. And it just shows too of like how much like the Waldorf women like love Dorota and care about her, and they can be, you know, Blair can like, you know, yell at her and give her demands and whatnot, but like she loves her and like is excited about the baby, and it just is kind of like a fun storyline. I thought. I also love that Chuck brings the rosé for the mom. It's just like, again, one of like the 3 lines Chuck has in this episode, but I'm like, oh, that's sweet.
It's cute. Yeah, he's like, they're all part of the family.
Yeah. I love this period of Chuck and Blair when they're just like easy dating and like nothing like that deep is really happening until it all blows up.
I know, but when they're just like happily together and supportive, it's like, it's so great.
And they let them just be in like kind of like funny scenes together.
Yeah.
It's just, it was a time.
Yeah.
And never the same again. So everything blew up at that dinner. I gotta say, it's like, Lily's being so upset about Serena and Trip. What were your thoughts on that?
I guess like, so I understand her being disappointed that her daughter is the other woman. She's ruining a marriage because Lily has history with infidelity.
Right.
And so it's personal for her. But again, to say to Serena, if you do this, you're no longer welcome in my home, is like not the right approach, I think. Like she sort of says like, you don't want to do this, you know, he's not going to stay with you basically, but then like just say that and say that you're concerned about your daughter getting hurt instead of like blaming her for making a bad decision, because again, she's 18. Yeah. Like try to like understand where she's coming from and help her reach that conclusion. By shutting her out and giving her this ultimatum, like you're only going to push her further away. They say that earlier even, like I know when Nate and Chuck are discussing like how are we going to get through to Serena, and Nate's like, you know her, like you're going to have to use a sledgehammer. Exactly. Which is why he gives the tape to Maureen instead of just confronting Serena directly, because he's like, you have to, you know, force her into a corner. You can't just come to her and tell her the truth.
I think Lily just never handles this stuff right. Like in the show, it's like she's so worried about Serena like making mistakes like she did. And it's like, well, let her make these mistakes, because she keeps making the same mistakes over and over again. And like part of that is though because like you're coming at her in like the wrong way. Yeah. And it is just so like, Lily, you kind of got her into this weird situation in the first place when you invited Maureen. Every time when you invited Maureen to Thanksgiving dinner with Trip because you wanted to spend more time with your daughter, which is also just completely overstepping and inappropriate. Like, why are you like, oh yeah, bring the boss and his wife over for Thanksgiving dinner? Like, So I just feel like it's like, Lily, you overstepped and now you're like overstepping again.
Yeah.
Like, just like let her make these mistakes. But I feel like everyone with Serena is going so far with this and like not blaming Trip and stuff like that, because like Serena just like does keep making like mistakes with these men, and it's just like, Serena, what are you doing? Like, just date Nate and like
I know,
date somebody your age, like
just
who is like not problematic, like please, just like,
it's so troubling. And I get it, because like it's so clear that like, and Lily says like she wants to keep Serena from repeating her mistakes. Then be honest with her.
Right.
Like, just say, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, and I don't want the same to happen to you, instead of like lying and covering it up and trying to like manipulate or threaten your daughter into behaving the way that you want her to.
right.
It's, you know, and did she learn that behavior from Cece? I don't know, but it's
that's why we need a show with the three of them.
I would be on board for that.
We need to know that the dynamics of Serena, Cece, and Lily is pretty fascinating. There's a lot of mother-daughter dynamics in this episode. We also have Vanessa and her mom. Like, you know, it's Serena and Lily, it's Cece and Lily. Like, it's so much mother-daughter dynamics, and just like really showing like how complicated that is. And a lot of it is these mothers don't want the daughters to make like the same mistakes they did. Or in the case of like Vanessa's mom, I feel like it's like she just, I don't even know. I don't even want to talk about Vanessa's mom. Like, I'm just like, I'm so over it. I don't even need to connect it to anything. But then, you know, it seems like Serena's going to make the right move. She's going to go to Paris with Blair.
Yes.
She's getting her passport out of the safe. All is looking up. The girls are having a good time. And then she sees the letter in the safe, written by Daddy Dearest, that she did not know about, that Lily has clearly kept from her. Which, like, again, Lily, like, be freaking honest with your daughter for once. Like,
or like burn the letter. I don't know. Don't keep it in the safe where your daughter knows the combination and has her own personal property. Like, come on, babe.
Like, her passport is in there. She's probably going to go in it. She's always jet setting.
Yeah, be smarter.
I know, that irritated me.
Yeah.
Lily. Well, she was drunk. She was drinking so much alone on Thanksgiving. Well, and then we get Trip coming in and saying, you know, that he left Maureen, which, like, we never got that scene.
Nope.
Right?
No, we did not.
I think I rewound and I was like, did we get a breakup scene where Trip is saying this to Maureen?
No, Serena says to them.
Am I saying her name right? Like,
Maureen.
You're just saying
I'm just
it.
call her Marnie. Marnie.
The redhead.
Maureen is not Marnie to me. But it's like, why did we not get that scene?
I guess because like they're both secondary characters.
Yeah.
Like they're on this strictly for like the plot line and not for like the show itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess we just didn't need it. It was good enough to just have Trip tell us that he was like, no, I'm still leaving you.
He chose Serena.
He did.
He really went for it.
Yeah.
Well, I think his problem was after his talk with Nate, and Nate was like, Serena deserves somebody, you know, who is going to like fight for her. And then Nate, you idiot, he turned around and did that.
Yep.
Nate walked right into that.
He did.
Nate in his cute little chunky sweater walked right into that. When Trip is saying all this to Serena, you're just like, don't believe him.
It's just so frustrating. And I think at the time when I watched it, I'm like, he's so cute. Like, he likes her. It's like, you know, I was swept up in it a little bit.
No, I was too.
But now I'm like, but you look back and you're like, no, this is ridiculous.
Well, it's also just like, I feel like it more comes to a head in this episode, because I agree. Like, I like their flirtation when they were working together. Like, you were like, oh, this is fun. We're getting in like a congressman political storyline. Like, you know, this is cute. But I just feel like in this episode, when everything comes to a head with like all this drama, all these lies, like, it just is like so complicated. And you're just like, Serena, don't walk into this complicated mess. Like, it is just so much. And you are 19 and you should just date Nate, who is here for you and is loving you.
And is so cute.
And is looking at you with those doe eyes. Like, I totally get it, because I got swept up in it too, and I did like it. And then in this episode, I'm like, ooh, this is just like way too messy. Like, and he's just, at the end of the day, he's going to choose like his career, his congressman position, his constituents, if you will. What is he? Where is he a congressman in New York?
I don't remember. I don't care.
They're just like congressmen.
I think
like,
he's
that's
like a
it.
state congressman, like maybe, but like he has aspirations to one day.
Well, yeah.
Because he comes back and he's still got political strife or whatever.
Well, grandfather has a lot planned for good old Trip. Grandfather. I just love how they always call him grandfather. So Serena leaves to go with Trip after, basically giving Lily the middle finger of like, you got your own secrets, Mom. I found that letter.
Yep.
It was a classic Serena Lily scene of just like, Mom, like,
She goes, you don't get to judge me, and then like hands her the letter and storms out.
it's always like, how dare you judge me, Mom? Look at what you're doing. Like, and Lily just like walks into it every time.
I know. Just stop lying. Well, then Lily, again with the bad decisions, goes into the coat closet, is continuing to read the letter in the coat closet
While drinking, I think. Again, she's still drinking.
and then like hides the letter in what she thinks is her coat pocket because she and Maureen have the same coat, which is how they ended up at Thanksgiving together in the first
How
place.
the earlier scene of them being like, oh, cute coat. Oh my God, Marnie, so good to see you.
Right.
Come over to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's not weird at all.
I know.
And then Maureen returns to retrieve her coat and finds the letter in her pocket and smiles to herself. And that's how we end this episode.
It's a very devious smile, too. Marnie's got cooking something up for them.
Because she lost out on Trip. He's leaving her for Serena, but now she's got leverage over Serena's mother, and she's immediately schemy. And in my brain, I was like, how'd you read the letter so fast? But she knows.
I love, though, that it's like, also, Serena and Trip are like going away together. Like,
Yes.
it's like, what? Whoa. Like, we really went from like, just, quick kiss to elevator makeout to we're running away together.
Right.
Like, it's like, why can't you just like hang out, go to dinner? Like,
Yes.
why is this suddenly like you two against the world, like running away together?
Right.
It's very bizarre.
Because even at the beginning of the episode, when she says, oh, I lied to my family so that I could spend Thanksgiving with you, not knowing that he could spend Thanksgiving with her, she just lied to her family just in case.
I know.
And then she's like, we're just going to, go to my hotel room and order room service and watch movies. And that's all we're going to do until you leave your wife. And it's sort of like, and now he's whisking her away and choosing her in this grand gesture, I guess, to justify to himself the decision that he's made.
Yeah, I'm so over Trip. Well, and then we got Sweet Nate saying, Serena, don't go. Like, he basically says, like, he admits his feelings
he
for her.
He says, like, since 3 years ago when
His, like, little monologue to her
How-
is so sweet. And him just being like, he's always been into her.
Yeah.
And to stay with him and to give him a chance. Like, finally Nate says this because Chuck tells him to. Love Chuck in this
again,
ep.
Chuck crushing it in this episode.
Chuck, being a good chess player in this episode, making some moves, getting things moving along here. And we find out that Serena chooses Trip. So sad.
A decision she will come to regret.
Very quickly.
Yes.
It all goes to
Yeah.
hell quite quickly.
Yeah.
I love that You Are the Only Exception plays during that scene, too. It's so good.
It's such a good song. And it's such that beginning when you hear that, like, dun, it's
Yeah.
so immediate.
You can sing it, Claire.
I couldn't think of it to myself, but thank you. I thank you for the encouragement.
Every time I hear that song, I think about Glee, to be honest.
Yes.
I just see, Leah Michele singing that in Glee with her little Peter Pan collar.
Yes.
I remember the scene quite vividly.
It all comes back to Glee for you.
It always comes back to Glee. We see Serena kind of like looking out the window, like, did I make a mistake? And yeah, you did, girl.
You sure did.
You left Nate in that chunky sweater.
I know. But Chuck is a good friend, and he says to Blair, would you be upset with me if I don't go to Paris with you, if I stay here?
Yeah.
And she's like, yes, but that's why I love you. Which, again, sweet, supportive, understanding. He's being a good friend. And then he just says, let's go get drunk.
I mean, my favorite line of the episode. It's so good. It's so like Thanksgiving, too.
Yes.
Like, let's just go get drunk. Let's leave this drama behind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for you.
And who among us hasn't felt like that at the end of a Thanksgiving meal when you're like, I gotta
Honestly,
get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So Chuck was really there for his friend, which we love. Great up for Chuck. Didn't have much to do, but just there for everybody.
Honestly, I think like the stealth MVP of this episode, like you said,
Yeah.
not in it a whole lot, but when he is, he makes an impact for the better.
I agree. I felt really bad for Nate. Nate, I would have been there for you too.
Oh, we love Nate.
We do.
We can't hide it. It's if it's not obvious by now.
We just wanted more for Nate.
We did. He got shafted in the end, but maybe one day.
Well, should we do some quick questions? We went through the app.
We did. Let's do it. Most absurd line or most memorable line from this episode.
Well, my line is "Let's go get drunk." I love that line. It was my favorite line of the episode.
I think my favorite like absurd line is "Your sweet potatoes are bland." Like it's just the way he says it is just so like unaffected.
Well, he only had like 2 lines in that episode, so he was like, I gotta make it worth it. I gotta do a good line read here. They gotta give me more lines.
I know. I also love and at the end of the dinner when they're like that someone says this and stands up and storms off from the table, and someone else stands up and storms off from the table, and Blair just goes, "And I want pie."
Love it. I love it when they're all storming off from the table.
Yeah.
What you say? Storm off. Like, it's so good.
Most ridiculous plot point or moment of this episode.
I mean, I think Blair thinking her mom is pregnant, like, look into that a little bit more. Like, consider, like, age. Like, I know you can get pregnant kind of, like, way later in life now, but I just thought, like, she took that so far, and it was just, like, kind of absurd to me that she would think her mom was pregnant.
Agreed. I think for me, I just put down, Dan is in love with Vanessa. Why?
Yeah. Because they had a threesome, Claire. It changed everything.
Don't believe the hype. Another line from this episode. When Nate, threesomes, man. Don't believe the hype. Like Nate's words of wisdom.
I love Dan and Nate's friendship.
I do too.
That phone call they have is so funny. Like when Nate's like, if this isn't your next story for the New Yorker, I got somewhere else you can sell this. Like just so good.
It's so good. And also like LOL Dan's next story for the New Yorker as a college freshman.
Oh, I know.
But yes, you're right. That line got me too.
Most scandalous secret.
I think it's the obvious that Serena is having an affair with Tripp.
Yeah. I mean, that the security footage proved it.
Yes.
Also, okay, that elevator ride. They were talking in that elevator for quite some time before they stopped it. Like,
I know.
I can't with like elevator scenes like that of just like, it doesn't take that long to like get from floor to floor.
The Empire is not that big of a hotel.
Exactly. So that was a little absurd to me. I know she stopped it so they can make out, but the combo before is quite long.
Yeah.
So
You can't look into it. So
I know
We can't
look into it, but I'm tired of these elevator scenes.
I get it. And also in my head, I was like, elevators have cameras, babe. Like, surely you would know that there's security cameras in elevators. We knew that.
Especially if someone's
11.
hitting stop, they're probably going to look and see like what's going on. But
and if it's
Serena doesn't care.
Yeah, Serena is blinded by love.
She is.
Yeah.
By Tripp.
I know.
That little, I don't know.
What food would you most want to eat? I have some options here.
Yeah, give me some options.
So there's the pumpkin pie that we see Vanessa and Dan making.
Absolutely not.
Jenny's sweet potatoes, which
no, little J doesn't know how to cook.
we know that they're bland. Rufus is going to make stuffing.
I just feel like Rufus only knows how to make chili, right? Like, I'm not believing the stuffing. Is there chili in the stuffing?
I doubt it. I mean, maybe it's just like a stovetop, although it's on a recipe card, so I guess it's from scratch.
Oh,
or
true.
the catered turkey.
I'm going to go with catered turkey.
That's what I would chose as well.
I mean, they mentioned Tom Colicchio lived in the building. Maybe it came from him. I don't know. So I'm going to go catered turkey. For
Love
sure.
that. Best Thanksgiving outfit.
I mean, I'm going to have to go Blair's because I really like that dress with the tights. I thought that was a really great outfit. Very Blair. But I'm like always going to go Blair in this scenario.
She was my choice as well. Hers is the most appropriate. I
Yes.
think.
I mean, Serena came out in a plunging neckline jumpsuit.
Which it's not a bad look, but it's not quite the right vibe for a family Thanksgiving.
Well, she wanted to dress it up for Tripp. Show him what he's missing.
Well, then you also have like little J dressed for the club. She's in like a long sleeve metallic like mini dress. And then she's wearing like some pattern tights with it, I guess, to make it less scandalous. But still, it is a very short dress for, again, a Thanksgiving meal.
I know. Well.
And the raccoon eyes, of course, because Jenny always has to have,
Classic little J. I mean, my honorable mention outfit is Nate's chunky sweater. Like, it's so cute. It's also very appropriate for the occasion. It looks nice. It's not like suit and tie. Like, it looked very good on him. He was wearing that sweater well.
I think he and Rufus were the most appropriately dressed men. Because, you know, like you
Yeah.
said, Chuck is in a suit because he's always in a
Yeah.
suit. Dan's in a flannel because that's Dan. I think, like, Eric is in a blazer, but, like, whatever. But, yeah, Nate is the best dressed of the gentlemen.
I feel like they should have had Dan maybe like dress up a little bit more or something if he just realized he's in love with Vanessa and is maybe trying to like woo her over.
Maybe, but I guess he's like also he like isn't trying to woo her. Like he's not sure what he's gonna do. He's denying that he's in love with her
Right.
to everyone. So maybe he's still not quite sure of his feelings.
I did like the line from Vanessa's mom of if you are not sure, your friendship will not last this again.
Yeah.
Like I did think that was like pretty good advice, but it also pushed Dan away.
Yeah.
But
I had
Mommy Dearest really came in heavy and hot and
Yeah.
was messing with her daughter's life.
mothers were meddling in this episode.
Mothers were definitely meddling.
All the mothers
Yeah.
were getting in there, mixing it up. Even like Eleanor is like pushing her and Blair are pushing Dorota to talk to Vanya. So that's
Yeah.
a little bit of meddling there too. Have you ever had a crazy unhinged Thanksgiving meal?
You know, Jason Derulo does not normally play at my Thanksgiving dinner tables, I will say. But we usually spend Thanksgiving together and things can get a little wild. I mean, secrets and lies are typically not revealed. Like, knock on wood, that does not happen to us this year. But, you know, things get a little fun and a little wild.
They do. They get a little loose. We have a nice little potluck meal.
Yeah.
With a catered turkey, if you want to look at it that way. The turkey or the
Catered
poultry comes
turkey
from somewhere else.
Popeyes.
Yes.
We've done that. So yeah, we're very Gossip Girl New York Thanksgiving over here.
We are.
But we do love spending Thanksgiving in New York.
We do.
It's very fun.
It's like a fun Friendsgiving. I feel like, you know, I see my family for Christmas and that's plenty.
yeah.
God love them, but
Well, hopefully, you know, maybe there'll be some drama at this year's Thanksgiving a la this episode. I'm going to just start playing What You Say and just start spreading, then start revealing
Please
secrets
do.
to people at the table.
I'm going to stand up dramatically and make a proclamation and then walk away from the table.
I'm going to invite a mom.
Whose mom?
We need some mom meddling at Thanksgiving,
do.
so I'm going to invite a random mom.
Oh my God. I can't wait to announce my affair with a congressman.
Oh, that would be fun.
Maybe-
What you say?
You know what? Maybe I'll do that for the folks who are attending our Thanksgiving that aren't currently here and
Yeah.
see how they react.
That would be fun.
Just
yeah.
a little Easter egg for those in the know.
We gotta create a little drama.
Yeah.
I will say, Gossip Girl was not very prominent in this episode.
No, we only get the voiceover at the beginning and the end.
I mean, was Dan just so in love with Vanessa he couldn't cause any drama over Thanksgiving this year? He took the day off? Is that what was going on?
I think so. I think she threw him off his game, and I think, you know, the holidays are busy. I think he was overwhelmed by having to cook this, you know, stupid pumpkin pie with Vanessa.
Well, Gossip Girl will be prominent at our Thanksgiving.
I
We'll
can't
be
wait.
sure of it.
Yes.
Well, at least I might make everyone watch this episode. All the Gossip Girl episodes.
Oh, that would
Maybe
be
we'll
fun.
do that. Yeah.
As a little pregame, we'll just like marathon the Gossip Girl eps.
Yeah,
you know,
that'll be fun.
I would love that.
That's what we call a good Thanksgiving here.
Yes. Some people watch football. We watch teen TV.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we have reached the portion of the show where we go on our little as if rants.
Right. This is where we rant about something from this episode of Gossip Girl for today's app. And we have 15 seconds. Producer Jessie will be timing us. And we just rant about something and say as if, just like Clueless.
Yes. So, Jessie, let me know when it's time.
Okay, ready, set, go.
Trip leaving his wife for a teenager, as if. I can understand a man in power making a bad decision and having an affair with someone, including someone, a teenager, who his cousin is friends with. But, like, to actually leave his wife and ruin his career for her, absolutely not.
You have to say as if.
I did.
Oh, you
Ruin
did.
his career for her? Absolutely not.
I said it at the beginning.
I know.
I didn't say it twice.
I wanted another one. It was so
As
good.
if.
As if. Why wasn't grandfather stepping in at this point?
You know what? That's
Nate
what
should have called
Nate should have called
grandfather.
grandfather. He would have shut that down right away.
Instead of calling security, Nate should have called grandfather and been like, please shut this down, and I'm in love with Serena. And that was a good one. Okay, so let me choose something different.
Big eldest boy energy there from the Vanderbilt family. Like, you know, Tripp is the chosen one.
Ready? Okay. Ready, set, go.
Dan being in love with Vanessa after having a threesome with her and Hillary Duff, as if Hillary Duff was also there. He was dating her at the time. And this threesome caused him to be in love with Vanessa over a look. It just does not make any sense. I could have gone on for longer with that one, but we'll leave it at that.
I know.
We'll leave it at that. You know, poor Hillary Duff got dragged into that.
I know. Do you remember how much they built up that episode? Like, before the season premiered, they were like, there's going to be a threesome this season. And then it was with, like, Hillary Duff and Dan and Vanessa. And we were all
didn't
like,
even really see much of it. That's
No,
why it's like,
we don't
we
even
didn't
see it.
Like, I would want to build up with him and Vanessa. Like, if
Right.
you're going to do that, like, show me a build up. Like, show me him starting to fall in love with her. Show me scenes of them more, like, together like that. Like, it's just, like, it was lazy.
yeah, it was, you know, they overpromised and underdelivered.
Yeah. Show me the full threesome.
Yeah. Or at least more than, like, they kissing,
Yeah.
and then it's just, that's it. And we're like, come on.
Yeah, it was very bizarre.
Not even, like, a little heavy petting, just, like, some, like, chaste
Yeah.
kisses. And we're like, okay.
It's like they've done some crazy
Yeah.
sex scenes on this show before. I feel like we could have gotten this hotter. For
Yeah,
sure.
like, show us, like, a bra or something. Come
I
on.
know, yeah. Show me them all cuddling in bed at least afterwards.
Honestly, yeah. At leave some, like, implication. Leave some, you know, it was just like, okay. It was like spin the bottle practically. When you're
It
just
did
like,
look like spin the bottle. You're so right.
and then they just end the episode and you're like, that's it.
yeah,
Lame.
hilarious. If you're gonna do a threesome, do it right.
Exactly.
All right, well, we'll end on that note. Everyone, we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Rewatch all these Thanksgiving Gossip Girl eps. They are so fun. They're so good. Again, definitely watch this one. It is the best one in our opinion. And be sure to listen to some previously on Teen TV while you're cooking this holiday season.
Yeah. If you need a break from your family Thanksgiving, you can dip out, take a little walk, listen to this episode, and then you can head back for dessert.
Listen to previous episodes as well.
Yes. We've got plenty to choose from. Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Rate and review us because you know you love us. And you can also follow us on socials at Instagram and TikTok at previously_on_teen TV. Thanks for listening.
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
I think the threesome thing is propaganda to get women to have threesomes with their men so that they'll fall in love with them. Oh.